Building a single server in the AWS Management Console is straightforward, but as your cloud footprint explodes, a simple setup quickly turns into a tangled web of interconnected resources. Clicking through the console menus might work for a small project, but try doing that for a 3-tier web application, complete with an application load balancer, an auto-scaling group, databases, and cache layers. The problem compounds when you need to replicate that exact setup across multiple AWS regions or separate developer accounts. Doing all of this by hand is painfully slow. Worse, it guarantees inconsistencies and introduces major risks from human error. To survive scaling at an enterprise level, you have to stop treating your infrastructure like physical hardware and start managing it exactly like software. This is where AWS CloudFormation comes in, introducing a concept called infrastructure as code. Instead of manually provisioning resources, you write out your environment in a standard JSON or YAML text file. CloudFormation evaluates the file and creates all the resources for you, figuring out the exact order and orchestration behind the scenes. Because your infrastructure is defined as text, you can review and version control every change before it deploys, giving you strict governance and an immediate audit trail. You also gain direct cost control. Every generated resource is automatically tagged with an identifier, and you can run your template through an AWS cost estimator to see the bill before you ever spin up the stack. You can even automate savings in your development environments. You can script the system to delete the templates at 5 p.m. when developers go home and safely recreate them from scratch at 8 a.m. the next morning. If you prefer writing standard programming logic over YAML, the AWS Cloud Development Kit, or CDK, lets you define your cloud architecture using languages you already know, like Python, Java, or C#. Or if you want a visual approach, AWS Infrastructure Composer lets you drag and drop resources onto a canvas, automatically writing the underlying code for you. By turning complex cloud configurations into repeatable text files, you eliminate inconsistency and guarantee your deployments work exactly the same way every time. But sometimes you don't want to design the infrastructure at all. You just want to write your application code and get it running for your users. For web developers, AWS offers Elastic Beanstalk, a fully managed platform as a service. You simply upload your code and Elastic Beanstalk takes over. It automatically provisions the capacity, configures the operating system, sets up the load balancer, and manages the auto-scaling groups. This dashboard shows the built-in monitoring you get out of the box. Elastic Beanstalk tracks environment health, target response times, and CPU utilization without requiring any manual setup on your end. Now, what if you aren't deploying new applications, but need to maintain a massive fleet of servers that are already running? That requires AWS Systems Manager. It's a hybrid service designed to manage EC2 instances, on-premises virtual machines, and even IoT edge devices. Instead of logging into each machine individually, Systems Manager sends a uniform patching status across your entire distributed network, or runs a single shell command on hundreds of servers simultaneously. For any of this to work, the host operating system must have the SSM agent installed and running. If Systems Manager ever fails to connect to a server, checking the agent is your first step. Tools like Beanstalk and Systems Manager handle the heavy lifting of daily maintenance, giving your engineering teams the time to actually focus on building new features. As an organization grows, granting open access to the AWS console becomes a major security and budget risk, especially when non-technical teams need to launch their own resources. To fix this, you use AWS Service Catalog, which functions like a private internal app store for your company. Cloud administrators take standardized, highly secure CloudFormation templates and organize them into approved collections called portfolios. End users can then log in to a simple self-service portal and click Launch on these pre-approved products, spinning up secure infrastructure without ever needing direct administrative permissions. Ultimately, mastering AWS at scale means stepping away from the manual console. By leveraging automation tools, you turn a chaotic cloud expansion into a secure, predictable, and highly efficient machine.